Hello and welcome to another episode of the FullTime15 podcast, the Premier League podcast that is anything but 15 minutes long. Before I get into today's extra special episode, I'd ask you to like, comment, subscribe, follow, share, all of the good stuff on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you enjoy your podcasts, we are there. So search for us, FullTime15 podcast, give us a follow, and we will be eternally grateful. As I mentioned, an extra special episode tonight, or this morning, we will be providing you with the normal review podcast coming out tomorrow morning, so Tuesday morning, scheduled slightly later than usual. Obviously coming out Tuesday, not Monday morning, but we didn't want to leave you hanging. We wanted to provide you with something, some substance, and part of it is down to the consistency factor that we wanted to produce something every Saturday morning and every Monday morning, which is why I brought you this short podcast today, and that is based around the story of how FullTime15 came to fruition. So the podcast is something myself and Robin have been thinking about for a good number of years, and I guess it goes back to our story of how we met. We met through work, and obviously, I guess grew together through a love of Arsenal, talking about football, in all of our breaks and things like that. So we now no longer work together, and we live in different places and things like that. So filming is a little bit trickier in terms of, we have two small young families. We have young children now, and it takes up a lot of our time, but it's a massive passion of ours. Talking about Premier League football, talking about Arsenal, it gives us a platform to kind of de-stress and after games come in and have a good chat about what we've just witnessed and get it out of the system, which is great. We love doing that. We obviously love interacting with people and different fans and all the rest of it, that whether they support United, Chelsea, Southampton, whether they support Charlton, or they're in the Premier League supporting Burnley, whoever it is, we want to engage with all of you, and we really enjoy it on X, in the comment section of our YouTube videos. It's fantastic. So we'd implore you all to comment more, subscribe so you hear when we release a new pod. But yeah, back to our story. We kind of met, I guess, 6-7 years ago, something like that, at work. Worked together for, I guess, 4 or 5 years. And then kind of 3 years ago, we decided, do you know what would be fun? Do a podcast together, chat about football, chat about the Premier League. The idea behind FullTime15 was that we were going to sort of do a snapshot review of the games, or preview of the games, in 15 minutes. In and out, kind of, the attention span of people is just not there these days. And we sat down, turned the mics on, turned the cameras on, and we were chatting away for about an hour and a half the first one. And it was just, we realised very quickly that we have opinions, we have, a great understanding of each other and good chemistry, where we want to actually talk more. We want to actually bounce off each other and have those little inside jokes and things like that. So it kind of became a bit of a running joke that, we never hit the 15-minute mark, and we just kind of kept the name. So that's where FullTime15 comes from. And like I said, 3 years ago, we decided, let's do a podcast together. And we kind of just put it on the back burner. Like I said, we've both got a young family. So that kind of, attention with the kids and work and life just gets in the way, and it just wasn't possible. And I think both of us were kind of apprehensive to take the leap, so to speak, and it kind of just prolonged. Each season would start a new season, and we go, should we do the podcast? Let's do a podcast. And one of us would say it, and the other one would be like, yeah, why not? And then neither of us would act upon that, so it never happened. And then the start of this season, we just kind of said, yeah, let's do it. We made it. We scheduled a time to sit down and talk. We recorded it. We put it out there, and we were just like, it's that simple. Okay, brilliant. That was actually fun. Let's do that, and let's continue that. So that's how FullTime15 came about. And listen, we're by no means massive. We're by no means a big podcast in any realm or stretch of the imagination. We are just happy to be putting out content on a regular basis, having the consistency to do that, and kind of holding ourselves accountable even when times are difficult with various different bits and pieces going on. So we haven't been able to schedule a good time over this Easter weekend, for example, to get the review in, to be able to come after the games, to have enough time to, talk about the games, to have enough time to edit, to get out for Monday. So this will come out for the Monday episode, and then obviously Tuesday. So tomorrow morning we'll be back with the full podcast review. Like I said, it's just about keeping us accountable and keeping us with the consistency, because this is what we enjoy to do. We're nearly at the end of the season now, which is fantastic. We've got a World Cup coming up, so the summer will be packed with more podcasts about the World Cup, no doubt. And then going into next season, we've got a bunch of new ideas and plans that we want to implement to help grow the channel and help grow, speaking to people and engaging with people and making this a really nice hobby that kind of expands into a bit of a community of people talking about the Premier League. So stay tuned for that. But like I say, just a small podcast, and I just wanted to provide a little bit of information and maybe a little bit of a look behind the curtain, so to speak, on how the FullTime15 podcast came to fruition, just wanted to provide a video to keep that accountability up. So but yeah, like I say, back tomorrow with a full review of the weekend's FA Cup games. We will no doubt be which will no doubt be an explosive episode touching upon the calamity at St Mary's with Southampton knocking Arsenal out the FA Cup, who, by the way, were fantastic. A brilliant game of football for the neutral fan as well. Obviously enjoying an Arsenal collapse, but so we'll be touched upon that. We'll also be reviewing the Man City Liverpool demolition job from Erling Haaland. We'll also see the Chelsea 7-0, as expected, no disrespect to Port Vale, result in the quarterfinal of the FA Cup. And then just got off the, watching the West Ham Leeds game, where Leeds survived the late scare to win on penalties against West Ham to book their place in the semi-final of the FA Cup at Wembley, where they'll be taking on Chelsea, which I think is a great opportunity for Leeds, by the way, to get into an FA Cup final. No disrespect to Chelsea, but I think they're a team where they can see themselves. Obviously, they would have wanted Southampton, no doubt. No disrespect to them, but their second option would have certainly been Chelsea, and you never know which Chelsea are going to show up. So I think a great opportunity for Leeds there. To put a bit of focus on something else other than a relegation scrap. But like I say, we'll be going through all of that good stuff on the pod tomorrow morning, 7 a.m, 6 a.m. if you're in the UK, and we'll be there ready to go. So have a great Easter weekend, have a great week, and we'll be back soon. All the best.
Lyle's got the stats stacked high. Robin's got a hot take flying by.
They're chatting goals and red card cries, talking Premier League all night.
15 minutes, they keep it tight, but the banter's hotter than a Friday night. Full-time 15, grab a brewski cold, talking football stories, legends and gold. From the pitch to the mic, they're keeping it clean.
Praying to the podcast,
God, they don't get seen. Robin says,
Lyle, you're dreaming.
mate, that striker's toast.
Now worth the wait.
Lyle fires back, you're out of your mind.
His boots are magic.
Give it some time.
Two voices clash, but it's all in fun.
Football debates till the match is won. Full-time 15, grab a brewski cold, talking football stories, legends and gold.
From the pitch to the mic, they're keeping it clean. Praying to the podcast, guys.
They don't get seen.